And then when you try and reach out to that person, then they don't answer their phone.
Hey. I'm not whipped.
You're not whipped. Moral of the story. Get your shit done.
Hello, I'm Brian.
And I'm Shannon.
And together we make...
Hello, BS.
One of these days we're going to get that.
We'll figure it out.
We'll get it so good. Just hang with us there, okay?
Yeah.
Your weekly dose of relationship advice.
And a healthy side of venting and stuff.
And of course, random nonsense.
Yeah.
And this week we have a very special treat for all of you. This week's topic is something that I would say that we're experts on.
I would too.
They say to become an expert on something, you need to put 10,000 hours in, right?
Do they?
I'm pretty sure. We have 5 years of experience for long distance, and that is the topic of today's episode, long distance.
We sure do.
Yeah.
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 We've got 5 years of experience.
Yeah. We're not long distance anymore.
No.
Thankfully, we're married, which... It's all right.
Rude.
I love you.
I love you too, baby.
No. We have been long distance for pretty much the entirety of our relationship, right?
Yeah.
We started dating, and then a week later, Shannon left me.
I didn't leave you.
Well,
I went to college.
You physically left me. We met here in Santa Cruz, and I stayed in Santa Cruz, but someone wanted to go off and get their degree.
I was already getting my degree, so I didn't really have a choice.
It was
To
summertime.
leave.
Summer between our junior and senior years.
Look, you could have asked me earlier. No, I'm just kidding. I understand why we waited.
Yeah. But the point is that at the end of junior to senior year summer, we ended up starting to date. And a week later, you had to go back to Berkeley, and I'm here in Santa Cruz. Mm-hmm. And so pretty much the entirety of our relationship was long distance all the way up until this last summer. Yeah, last summer of 22, when we moved in together in June, and then we got married in
August.
That was going to be my first guess.
Wow! Babe!
Of course, I do remember when we got married.
When did we get married?
In August. Exactly like how you said. So anyway.
What day?
A day in August.
Did you forget our anniversary?
No, it's August 17th.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, see?
I was getting worried there for a second.
You don't gotta be worried about that. I give you a lot of shit.
I know you do.
But you know when push comes to shove, I'm there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I would say that we've been together going on 6 years, and we've spent 5 of those years long distance. Yeah. I think that we have a pretty good expertise in this field.
I'd say so.
Would you like to start us off with the first question?
Sure.
Okay.
Is this it?
This is it, number 1.
Challenges and benefits of being long distance. Benefits, I would say, helped. You have to know you're going to be either in or out, and then also you learn very, very quickly that communication is key, and so you don't really have a choice not to be good communicators together. And so that's That's one benefit, I think, which is a challenge in itself. But at the same time, figuring out that form of communication very early on helps make things so much easier as you move through the steps of the relationship.
I 100% completely agree. And in that, I would say that one of the biggest challenges of being long distance is the fact that you are long distance.
Yeah.
Like there were a lot of days where at the end of the day I was like, oh man, I really wish that I could just like hug Shannon right now, and I couldn't. And I knew that I'm not gonna hug her for another 7 days, 8
Plus,
days.
yeah.
But now we don't have to worry about that.
Heck yeah, man.
Speaking
Thank goodness.
of communication, number 2, effective communication techniques. I feel like, obviously, and thankfully in today's age, FaceTime is such a viable tool to where you can not only talk to the person, but also actually like see them.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the things that isn't talked about enough when it comes to communication is silence. And what I mean by that is like there were a lot of times over FaceTime where you and I would be on FaceTime and I'd be able to see you. But that said, we weren't really talking. We would go like 20, 30 minutes without saying a word. I would be like playing a video game, or you would be
doing
writing
homework.
Yeah. Or like vice versa. I would be doing homework and you'd be like doing a coloring book. But like we would spend 15, 20, 30 minutes in silence just doing our own thing. But having that ability, knowing like in the middle of a video game, I could say, oh yeah, like this cool thing happened in this video game.
Yeah, we were still hanging out.
Yeah. And it's like...
And it might seem like, oh, what the heck? What a waste of time. It really isn't. It was like the only way you could really, like, genuinely, like, find a way to hang out like a normal person and still have my, boyfriend at the time hanging around.
Yeah.
So, thank goodness for FaceTime. I feel like only having just like a phone call or only being able to write letters would have been so much harder. I don't know how people used to do it. But here I am as a millennial. So thank goodness for iPhones and FaceTime.
Amen.
Because it made it so much easier.
Would you like to move on to number 3?
Sure.
Okay.
The importance of trust and honesty in long distance. That's huge.
I mean, trust is like huge in any relationship, but like I feel like it's blown up when you're long distance.
Yeah.
Because I've never thought it's never crossed my mind that, oh yeah, Shannon might be cheating on me. But it's like one of those things where you don't know what's going on with your partner when you're an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And so there were some days where I never thought like you might be going off with another guy. But there were some days where it's like, oh man, like I haven't heard back from her in a couple hours and she should be home right now. I hope everything's okay. Like, you know?
Yeah. Same. Yeah. Yeah, that is one thing that was, from the beginning, I knew that I could trust you 100%.
Especially.
Like, that was not, never gonna be an issue. But we both did live in houses with other people, and so we'd go out with our friends, and you do whatever, go to a movie with a housemate or my roommate at the time, and then you can't really text back in a movie.
Yeah.
And so just knowing like where the person, where Brian was or where I was, not that it really mattered, but yeah, no, it was always rough, because it was like if I did want to reach out to him, but I knew that he was out doing something else, then that was always tough.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, we always made it a point that no matter what, even if it's just for like 5 minutes, just to say goodnight, at the end of the day, we would always be able to hear each other's voice or see each other's face on FaceTime, just to either say goodnight or like check in, like, how was your day and stuff. But then like there are some times where like something might come up where I would come home and my parents would be there, and we would instantly like go out and do something, like maybe go out to dinner, and I would forget to text you. But at the end of the day, like when we reconnected, I'd always tell you, oh yeah, like I went out to dinner with my parents. That's why I didn't text. I'm sorry about that. Mm-hmm. And then you would have to trust that I was being honest with you and that I wasn't out with another woman.
That's true.
But I feel like that kind of goes to any relationship, whether you're long distance or not. There's some level of trust that you have to have with your significant other if you're going to be with them. If you don't trust your partner, you shouldn't be with them.
Yeah.
And if you're not being honest with your partner, you shouldn't be with them either.
Yeah.
Unless you're lying for a fun reason.
For like a surprise party.
Yeah.
But I've always been really hard, like, I'm not very good at keeping secrets. No, you're not. From you.
And like, I don't keep secrets
or just
in general.
Yeah.
I'm an open book. And I feel like after the Rocky party, like you kind of realized that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian was in Rocky Horror Picture Show.
I was. And it's so fun. And I recommend anyone to go out and see a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
All right. Are you ready for number 4?
I am.
How to maintain intimacy and emotional connection when physically apart. And I would say the best way to do that is to cram a week's worth, because we would only see each other on the weekends, a week's worth of emotional intimacy and fun into that one weekend. And so a normal couple might have like a date night on a Friday and like a lazy Sunday. We would have date night on Friday, a lazy Saturday, date night on Saturday, and then a lazy Sunday morning.
A lazy Sunday morning. And then like also on Saturday we would do like some sort of like physical activity, whether it was a hike or a run or just like any sort of adventure, to try and like get multiple date nights in, multiple adventures in, and then also lazy days, and then just eat whatever we want.
Yeah.
So lots of like midnight Safeway runs to get like ice cream or something like that. But we also had like our favorite places, where there's a couple different places that did get shut down that were like our main coffee shop we would go to, or a donut shop that we would like to go to, and unfortunately are no longer open anymore. But then we found new ones, and so always having that one place where before we left, we always made it a point to go to coffee at this place and eat breakfast at this place before unfortunately having to leave each other again until the next weekend, or depending on what was going on.
Yeah.
Maybe the weekend after or the weekend after that. But yeah, I was just making it a point to go to those special places.
Yeah. Doing something special.
Yeah.
And honestly, it doesn't have to be like anything huge either. I would recommend anyone in any relationship, whether you're long distance or not, just once a month or something, like do something nice, do something special. I make it a point like once a month to buy Shannon flowers. And yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's not for an anniversary or anything. It's just because, you know? And I feel like that makes it special.
Yeah. It does.
Number 5. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
Is that copy?
Coping.
Coping.
I'm sorry you can't read my writing.
I'm sorry. Sorry, sweetie.
No, don't be.
Coping strategies for loneliness and longing. Oh, well, there's a lot. One thing that was incredibly helpful that Brian and I would do is we would make little videos for each other. And then also just take a bunch of photos. And so I know it sounds corny, but if I ever got lonely or started missing you, I would just, and even like till this day, if I'm having a bad day, then I'll just go and into my photos and I'll like look at pictures of us, and then maybe watch a small video clip that we made for each other, and then even if it is just the smallest little thing, it did help make it, a little easier.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
One of the, I remember so vividly, one of the fun little adventures that we would do together on the weekends is that Shannon would say, "Hey, Brian, look what I got." And she'd pull out her curling iron. Because at the time, I would have like...
He had really long hair.
And so she'd like to curl my hair.
It was fun.
And I let her, because it was like a fun little like adventure. We'd be watching like whatever show we were binging at the time, and you'd like curl my hair just for fun, and we would like take little videos or like photos of that.
True love.
Save them. Yeah, true love.
by letting me do that.
And it's always fun, like, when I would miss you, I would, like, go back into my favorites album on my phone, and I'd scroll through those photos, and I'd just remember all, like, the really fun times of doing that.
Yeah. And
just how goofy and fun it was.
It was. There were multiple photos of after curling his hair and being so sweet and generous for letting me do that so many times. When he would wake up in the morning, his hair would be even wackier than it is already when he woke up. It was so funny. So many super cute pictures of that.
Yeah. And then, like, one thing that's really fun to do is that if you're by yourself and you're doing that and you're having all these fun little memories of those events, take that video and then just send it to your significant other.
Yeah.
Because, like, I guarantee you there were days where Shannon would be at work or doing something and she would, like, look at her phone and then see a picture of me with my curled hair and us smiling. Yeah. And then it would just brighten her day. And same with me. Like, there are plenty of times where Shannon has sent me a photo of like a fun little adventure we went on, and it just brightened my day.
Yeah.
Number 6.
Okay.
Speaking of brightening a day when you need it, number 6, balancing long distance with other life aspects. Not easy, my guy. It's really easy to like categorize and catalog it, where it's like, okay, Shannon and I are together this weekend, but not that weekend, so I could reach out to my friends and do something that weekend.
Yeah.
But like, it's so hard to live your life like that. Because like, there were plenty of times where I would get a text in the group chat or the Discord saying like, oh, hey, we're all gonna, all my friends would say they're going to the lake that weekend, and I'm like, oh, I'm in Santa Cruz that weekend. That kind of sucks, because I want to hang out with my friends, but I also really want to go see my wife. Or not, at the time, she wasn't my wife.
No, we were we were not long distance when we were married.
No.
We never have been.
It's weird to think about not being married, though, now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was when we got engaged that we moved in together.
Yeah.
But that also goes back to compromise, where there were, from our video last week, if you haven't seen it, check it out. And subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, please.
But, no, for real, it was like, if his friends did want to go, and he did plan on coming to Santa Cruz, we also did have to have those conversations where it was like, I know we had planned that you were going to come here or I was going to go there, but if, like, also, one thing I feel that's super important is not to lose those friendships that you already have, and making sure to spend the time with your friends so that your relationship isn't like all consuming.
Yeah.
Not because I love you.
Yeah.
I could spend all day every day with you and just be so happy. But also, I don't know, keeping those friends close, and whoever you have in your life, that's important. And so I would say, yeah, no, there were definitely plenty of times where it was like, okay, I know that we've planned this, but I know that you want to go. So if you want to go, like, totally do it, and then we can just, like, see each other next weekend or something like that.
Yeah. And then another aspect of, like, life stuff is, like, hobbies, which long distance clearly gets in the way of, like, so much.
Yeah.
Because every day, the distance that we were at is about a 3-hour drive, which is like, after work, you clock out, stop the school day teaching 6-year-olds, and when you drive 3 hours down to Santa Cruz, it's like, okay, well, I am not in the mood to go for a run right now. I want to be with my significant other. I want to be with Shannon. I don't want to go out for a run. I want to be with her. Yeah. And then same thing on Sunday when it was time for me to leave. It's like, okay, well, Sundays are my long run days, but I had to just say goodbye to Shannon and drive 3 hours one way. And now I'm like, I don't want to run 10 miles. Like,
no, that was rough. We always did make it a point, though, to go on a run together every Saturday, so that, well, I mean, you're so much faster than me now. But so that we still had a little exercise. I know that it was always hard to come home and then with no will to run, but then still knowing that you had a goal in mind, and so you still had to do it.
Yeah. Do you want to hit up number 7?
Yeah.
Okay. Planning
visits and trips.
I feel like we kind of
communication.
Yeah. Communicate with each other to do that.
Yeah, and then also taking time off work as well once we graduated, and then got jobs and were adulting. And so going on our first trips together were so fun.
Yeah.
And super exciting, and we'll always remember them because it was like, oh my gosh, we're going on a trip together for the first time.
Being adults.
Being adults. But yeah, communication.
Number 8 kind of goes into communication and what we've already talked a lot about, which is the role of technology. Get on that.
FaceTime.
Figure it out. Technology and social media and all that jazz are tools in your tool belt. And if you're not going to use those tools, it's going to get really hard to build up that relationship.
Yeah.
It's really hard to build a shed if you're not going to use a hammer and nails.
Right.
And it's the same thing. It's going to be really hard to maintain that relationship if you're not willing to use technology to communicate with each other.
Yeah. And FaceTime might not work for you. Maybe you don't like it. Or maybe you don't have an iPhone, and so you can't FaceTime. But you still have a phone. You still have paper and a post office somewhere. Whatever works for you. Tools. They are there. Let's see. Long distance success stories and advice. What do you mean by that?
I don't know.
Okay.
I wrote this list 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
And so I completely forgot what. Do you want to skip and move on to number 10?
Sure. I mean, I would say we're a success story.
I would agree with that, yeah.
We did get married after 5 years of long distance.
And we are together now.
Yes.
Number 10, strategies for handling conflicts and disagreements. This is so easy to do when you're long distance. Because if you're having a conflict, you could just hang up.
No. Okay, that is not true. That is... oh, sweetie.
That's
no.
really great advice on how to ruin your relationship.
How to ruin your relationship. No, that is one thing we certainly made a point of doing is before getting off the phone, before, if we were in a disagreement, one thing that was so incredibly important was getting off that phone and knowing that you had figured it out and that we were not angry with each other when we got off the phone.
Yeah.
And being honest on what and how we were feeling. Because if you just hang up and move on with your day and pretend like nothing's happened and you go to bed and you're feeling resentful to your partner, it's gonna just make it so much worse, and it's gonna build up, and then there's gonna be an explosion, and then you're gonna break up. So it was hard, but making sure to talk through it. One thing I recommend is not yelling at your partner. Maybe try and see their point of view. Work through it, talk through it, tell them how you feel so that they tell you how they feel, and then compromise.
One thing that I would always recommend as well is to remember that the relationship is always more important than the issue itself. And if you are getting to that point where, like Shannon said, don't yell, but if you're getting heated to the point where you feel like you're going to yell, or you started yelling, or your partner started yelling, it's good to take a pause, take a time out, breathe in, step back, cool off.
Yeah.
And remember, like, why you're there. Like, you guys are a relationship, you're a partnership. You need to be working together to overcome the conflict. Now, obviously, there are some conflicts where you're going to get heated no matter what.
Yeah.
If someone cheated, that's not a time to step back and
No.
cool off, obviously, right?
No.
Yeah. Don't cheat on your partner.
Yeah.
And that's my advice. Hey, don't cheat.
Don't do it. It's not worth it.
No. But no, like in general though, if the two of you are having a conflict where no one person is in the wrong, like take a step back and remember that the relationship is always more important than the issue itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That is all of the relationship advice that we have for today. Thank you for watching. Now we are moving on to our next segment, which is
Consumption Corner.
I want to start off with an apology.
Why?
The last 2 episodes, we've been talking about Consumption Corner. I've had something to come up, which is the Harry Potter books. And I've always given updates where I'm at in the books. I am sad to say I am still at the same place as we were last week when we filmed. I have not listened to any more Harry Potter since last week because a lot of stuff has been going on at work. And I haven't gone on very many runs in the last week. And so those are like the 2 main times where I've been listening to the audiobook. I'm currently finished with book 2. I'm about to move on and start book 3. And so I want to apologize for not making any progress. I promise I will get through all of book 3 this week, and I will have a lot to say about it next episode.
You've been a busy guy.
I've been pretty busy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now that we've talked about what we're not consuming.
We did see Dungeons and Dragons yesterday.
So good.
It was really good. We really enjoyed it.
Believe the hype.
I feel that there was a really good balance between humor and action.
I feel like we have a really good perspective because I'm someone who likes those types of movies, and I really enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. But Shannon has never played a single game, and she really doesn't know anything about Dungeons and Dragons.
No, I went in knowing nothing.
Completely blind.
Yeah.
With that said, what were your thoughts about the world of Dungeons and Dragons? Did it seem too complex for you?
No.
Were there a lot of things that you were like, you felt like weren't explained properly? Like, what were your thoughts?
I think that they were really good about making sure you understood what the story was. Mm-hmm. And no, the world was not too complex. I felt like it was the movie definitely had inspiration, just like the different places that they went. You could tell that they drew inspiration from a bunch of other different movies, and I absolutely loved it. But also, I love like the fantasy aspect of a bunch of stuff. Like, I'm a huge fan of like the Harry Potter series, Lord of the Rings, just all of those books like I grew up on. Like Star Wars, Star Trek, just all of those crazy different series. And so seeing them draw inspiration from a bunch of those different worlds was awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. One thing that I will say that I wasn't expecting was just, and I told you this yesterday,
Yeah.
was how pretty of a movie it was.
It was.
Like, you could tell they put in a lot of time and effort into the scenery and the backdrops, and like you could feel the different places that they went to were different distinct areas in the world that they're creating, and all of them were very pretty. I enjoyed it. The cast did a great job.
Yeah.
Great acting.
Great acting.
Writing was very straightforward, very generic, cliche kind of fantasy stuff. But all of the execution on like the acting itself made it like okay. Like all the acting was spot on and there to the point where it's like, oh okay, like yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay that like the villain was very stereotypical evil just to be evil. I want to conquer the world, you know? But the fact that like those cliches aside, like they had such a good team of acting and all the individual stories of the backgrounds of all the characters came together in such a good way that like it's easy to forgive that.
Yeah.
It was a fun movie.
It was a fun movie. Maybe it's because I'm a total theater nerd, but the lighting was fantastic. Because it really helped capture the emotion of what each scene, like what they were trying to portray in each scene.
Yeah.
But anyway. Sorry.
No, don't be. Not only did we see Dungeons and Dragons, we saw another movie the day before, too.
We did. We saw John Wick.
John Wick Chapter 4.
John Wick Chapter 4.
That was a phenomenal movie.
It was. The actions scenes were fantastic.
Okay.
No, you're a huge John Wick fan.
This is either going to be a hot take or a cold take. I think that John Wick Chapter 4 might be my favorite.
Really?
Out of all four, yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
Okay.
I gave it a lot of thought because going into it, I thought that the first movie was phenomenal and it was great at setting up this world of intrigue and mystery. And then John Wick Chapter 2 was better. I thought 2 was great. It was the perfect sequel. It expanded on everything that was set up in the first movie, and it did everything a little bit better, which is what you want in a sequel. I feel like 3, Parabellum, was really good in that it expanded a little bit on like the story, but mainly the story in Chapter 3, all the story was John Wick's on the run. He's running. He has to go to the Elder so that way he's not on the run anymore. Well, actually, he's going to be on the run now. And that was it.
He can never win. I feel so bad for him. It's like no one likes him.
No. But that said, though, like, 3's story, it's okay that it was really, really basic because the story was only there so that way John can go to these cool places and have these awesome, like, fight scenes. And so I thought 3 wasn't as good as 2, but it was still amazing. I think Chapter 4 has all the story that I was looking for, like in 2.
Okay.
And all of the action was like the best in the series. I think 4 might be my favorite.
Okay.
What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I'm kind of torn between 3 and 4 because I really liked 4, but I also really liked 3. But I think I did like the scenery and the different places that they went in 4 a lot better than they went like in 3. Not that 3 wasn't good.
No.
I loved 3.
No.
But
Yeah.
also I feel like you could follow the storyline better in 4.
Yeah. Well, that's what I meant too. When like 3's story was like very minimal. Yeah. Whereas 4, it's like it really feels like everything was turned up a notch and like coming to an end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was not expecting the ending.
We're not going to spoil anything.
No.
Yeah.
No. But
Holy shit.
but we do recommend you go see it if you do like the John Wick series.
I would say go to the movies this weekend. If you want a serious hardcore action, go see John Wick. If you want a fun romp with some laughs, go see Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then tell us how all of the other movies are in the theater, because we haven't gone and see those yet.
Let us know if you agree with us, if what you think is a cold take, or if it's a hot take. Let us know in the comments below.
Yeah.
And we have just enough time for the last segment. Shannon, this podcast is called A Load of BS for a reason.
Yeah.
This week, I have a load of BS to share.
Tell me your load of BS.
I hate it. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you what's a load of BS. I hate it when, as an admin assistant, my job is to assist in administrative stuff. Sometimes I have to clean up other people's messes. I hate when someone does something wrong and bad, and I have to clean it up, and then I am told off by the people that I'm trying to work with. So
yeah, it's not your fault.
I'm not going to put anyone on blast right now. I'm not going to name names or anything. However, I had one hiring manager who told me specifics about a personnel action form that I had to make to send to HR. And a lot of information on it was incorrect. And so I had the head of HR emailing me directly, telling me about my mistake because of something that the hiring manager did.
Yeah.
And then I had another manager purchase things up to 20 grand's worth of stuff without properly getting a purchase order in place from finance. So I had the head of finance emailing me directly saying how we can't be purchasing stuff without going through the proper channels.
Yeah.
And so this week, I had 2 separate department heads putting me on blast, emailing me about the mistakes that I made.
Because you were trying to fix their mess.
Because I was trying to fix someone else's, 2 other people's messes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That
was your load of BS.
That is a load of BS. Okay? When you're at work and you have to clean up someone else's shit, and that shit rolls downhill and gets you dirty. That's my load of BS for this week.
Amen, sister.
Okay. I'm cool.
You cool?
I'm calm.
Calm?
Yeah.
Collected?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
My load of BS is weekend duty. Because for I work in sales, and I completely understand that, one of us on my team has to do weekend duty like every weekend. And so we switch off. But the thing is no matter how hard you try, there is always that one person that just, no matter how hard you try, and you remind them constantly, get your in and make sure to fix everything so that you don't have to deal with an angry customer over the weekend because something went wrong because of a different person's problem. And it just bothers me a little bit that no matter how hard you try and grill it, and no matter how like how many people get it right, but there's always that one person that gets it wrong. And then when something does go wrong, everything falls on you. And then when you try and reach out to that person, then they don't answer their phone. It just bothers me a little bit. I don't have crazy eyes, I promise.
I think the running theme here this week on each other's loads of BS's is that we don't like cleaning up other people's messes. You are left with the bag and trying to clean up someone else's shit, and I'm being blamed for other people's shit.
Yeah.
And it's not cool, man.
Not cool, man.
Not cool.
Yeah. So, moral of the story, get your shit done.
I would rather have you guys not blame other people for for other people's messes. I'd rather have you guys be chill than subscribe. You should still subscribe, but like, if given the choice between subscribing and being chill, I would prefer you guys to be chill, okay?
Yeah.
And in fact, you guys are so chill that you should subscribe and like the video right now.
Right now.
Right now, because that is all we have for this week.
Click that subscribe button, and we hope that you have a fantastic day.
Yes.
Have a great one for us.
And if you have any stories or questions, comments, concerns that you want us to cover,
throw it down in the comments below.
Yeah. A couple weeks ago, someone left a comment saying that I was whipped. Already whipped.
Already whipped. That is so not true.
No, but it was left in the comments below, which means I'm going to respond to it, which is this. Hey, I'm not whipped.
You're not whipped.
I could go out and do whatever I want. It's just that what I want to do is get my wife flowers and make her happy.
Aww.
And if that's being whipped, then I guess I am.
Thanks, baby.
But I'm not whipped. All right, well, thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And yeah.
And subscribe.
Adios.
Bye.